Good day and Assalamu alaikum. My name is Dr. Kashif Mustafa and by profession I'm a surgeon and I live in Johannesburg, South Africa. And welcome to my channel. I thought I'll just spare a minute to give you an intro about myself and what this channel is all about. As I said, by profession I'm a surgeon, but traveling has been my hobby for many decades. I've been to more than 100 countries across all the continents. But for the last few years, I have developed a new fetish. I have discovered a new niche of traveling, which is looking for places that are shrouded in mystery and myth. Places that have been mentioned in ancient scriptures, ancient traditions, in the holy books. Do those places really still exist? Do they still have the same meaning and the metaphor as described in the text, traditions, and the scriptures? And that's what I've been doing for many years now. In my opinion, this is a lesser explored venue of exploration. Not many people have done it. So I decided I'm going to share my experiences with you as I go to such places and bring to you the original meanings and the metaphors, the originalities and the factualities of such places. I hope you're going to enjoy my excursions, my research, and my exploration. And if you want me to come to your city or your country to explore something there, please do contact me. I will eagerly await your feedbacks, your criticism. Hopefully, you will enjoy the videos, and thanks for being with me. Good morning, history hankers. From Amman, the capital city of Hashemite Kingdom of Jordan. This is my second year here, and I woke up in the morning. I just had a breakfast. It's cold and nip in the morning. The reason I've come here second time is that this land, the Hashemite Kingdom of Jordan, is strewn with references, historical references, religious references. This land has got many shrines, tombs, relics, and we're going to try and find some of them together. Today, we're going to go to a place that's far, and very few people actually brave the distance to get there. I'll give you a hint about the place, and I'll tell you more as we get there. I'll take you back to year 583 AD. In 583 AD, the Arab Peninsula and the land of Mecca, which right more or less in the center of the Arab Peninsula, were inhabited by the Quraysh tribe. And as we know, Quraysh were traders. They were trading merchandise from the Yemen, where the ship would bring spices and herbs from India that they would collect, and then they would take it to inland through the Arab Peninsula, and then they would bring it to Syria. From there it would cross across the Mediterranean to Europe. And that was their trade. That's what they did. So year 583 AD, there's a Quraysh tribe that's traveling from Mecca to Damascus. Like I said, there were about 40 people with about 10 camels, laden with merchandise, herbs, spices, frankincense, myrrh. As they entered what is now what we call Jordan, at that time this must have been Syria, because remember, Syria was a big empire. The present Arab Republic of Syria is just a small representation of the old Quranic Syria, or the historical Assyrian, or the biblical Syria. When they got to some corner of this Jordan land, the present day Jordan land, the caravan was exhausted by the scorching heat. So they sat under a little oasis which had a wide tree and a water body. Now that's one part of the story. The other part of the story is, at that time in Syria, which was predominantly a Christian country with some Roman influence or pagan influence, there was a Christian monk named Bahira. Now Bahira was an old man at that time, must be in his 80s or something. He was very well versed in all the ancient scriptures and all the holy books. the Torah, the Bible, and their different exegesis. From his knowledge of the ancient scriptures and the books, he knew that the last promised messenger and the prophet has been born. And he knew that he has been born in Mecca. So any caravan from Mecca that came across to Damascus, he would observe closely, looking for any signs of the last prophet, the last promised messenger. On that day, in 583 AD, when that caravan of 40 people and 10 camel was moving towards Syria, something told him that he must go and look at that caravan. So he moved from his recluse that was in somewhere in what is present day Syria, the Arab Republic of Syria, a town called Barsa. He moved inland, and he was sitting on a little hillock, a sand dune. From far away he could see that caravan coming of 40 people, 10 camels, and in those 40 people there was a little Meccan boy that was accompanying his son, that was accompanying his uncle. Now his uncle took him maybe just as an excursion, or maybe to teach him the trick of the trades, to become a good trader. When that caravan came and sat under the tree, Bahira started looking at that caravan carefully, as he has been doing for many years. He saw the caravan had stopped and sat under the tree. The Arabs at that time were a very hierarchical society. So the elders of the tree were sitting under the shade of the tree, and that little 12 years old boy, being the youngest in the group, was sitting on the edge. Part of sun was still catching on his face. There was something attracting him to that little boy. He started watching him, and then he suddenly saw a miracle happen. A miracle that we're going to go and chase and pursue today, or decipher today, or look for any signs of that miracle today. He saw the tree under which the little boy sat. The tree bent its branches to offer shade to the 12 years old. He immediately knew he has found what he has been looking for many, many years. He jumped off the sand dune, he went to the boy, and he asked him his name. The boy said, "My name is Muhammad bin Abdullah." The priest or the hermit, Bahira, asked him, "Who are you with?" He said, "I'm with my uncle Abu Talib." He said, "Where is your uncle?" So the little boy called his uncle. When the uncle came, Bahira said, "I want to look at the back of this little boy." So he lifted his top, the Arabic long dress that he was wearing, and there he could see it, the seal of the prophethood. He kissed the boy's hand and he said, "You are the last messenger, the last promised prophet." Then he told his uncle, Abu Talib, "Please protect him at any cost." And with that, he bowed to the little boy and he walked back to his original city, Bursa, where he passed away. And God is a witness that that little boy's uncle, Abu Talib, did protect him all his life. That little boy was no one else but the last prophet, Muhammad, peace be upon him. What we're going to pursue today is the tree. It is said that deep in the Jordanian desert, near the Saudi Arabia with Jordan, that tree still stands. The whole oasis is gone. That area is barren, desolate, a desert, harsh, inhabitable. But there's only one tree that stands, still to date. Somehow, miraculously, water finds its way to feed the tree. to sustain it. That tree, God has rewarded him possibly an eternal life. That tree still stands in that desert, somewhere far in the Jordanian desert, and we're gonna go and find the tree. Join me. So when I last came here, I passed this road and I saw a very peculiar graveyard made out of black stones. Every grave has got black stones to it. I've never seen it before. I thought I'll show. There it is. I don't know who these people are. In between these graves, they're unmarked, unnamed. So I don't know of the era they are from. Could be Christian, could be Roman. I'm not sure. But in between you see those Muslim graves as well. Possibly you can see them. I'm not allowed to enter because there's some construction work going on there. But these black stone graves, quite fascinating. I've never seen them before. I don't know. There's a little hole in the wall. Maybe you can try and sneak in, as I've always done. And I'm a tourist. I break every law. Normally I don't. I never. So I'm going to break the law. I'm going to enter this black grave cemetery. Yes, I made it. So if I get arrested, you're going to be witness to my arrest. There it is. So I'm going to get to one of those graves and try and see and try and figure out. There it is. There's one of the graves. So see, like a little tombstone there. Now this grave is north-south, and in ancient Arab there was a tradition. If there was a male grave, it had just the tombstone on the head side, and if it was a female grave, they had two stones like this one at the head end and one at the foot end. So by that evidence, it's probably Arabic, ancient Arabic, probably time of early Islam, when Islam was accepted by the tribes of this area. There you see, every grave has got a tombstone to it, and they're not too many, There's probably, I don't know, 50, 100. And then you move on to that side, and there you see the Muslim area, the modern graveyard, with the typical Muslim style graves, also facing north-south, like the Muslim graves are, and with the tombstones with Quranic verses inscribed. Interesting. There's one there with two tombstones. Graves of women. There you see it. Two tombstones. The modern ones and the ancient ones. Both have got two tombstones. See that? So this is probably the female area of the graveyard. There are two ancient female graves and the two modern graves. There's one further up there, and then there's this little boundary. Maybe they separated the male area and the female burial area. I'm not sure, but I've never seen anything like this before. Maybe it's happened because the black stone, as you could see far in the distance, was in abundance here. So they just maybe used it because of availability. It was only black stone. But I can't be sure if there was any deeper meaning of making these graves from the black stones. Nevertheless, I just thought I'll make a small stopover to show you this very peculiar graveyard. One that I've never seen before, of black graves, or graves with black stones. But I think last time I just passed I drove past it. This time I thought I'm going to stop and see. And seeing it, it's definitely of Muslim era, maybe early Muslim era. The first Muslims that died after Islam came into this area, the tribal people who first accepted Islam, these are probably their graves. Let's continue with our journey. Good morning. I've stopped here at a very desolate place. Some construction work happening, the cement pipes. Or there's I think it looks like a military post or something. Look at the desolation, the true Arabian desert. But that's not the reason I've stopped here. The reason I've stopped here is because of the signboard. The site of the tree of Prophet Muhammad, may peace be upon him. It's in this direction, turning to the right. So I think we've made it very close to it. The Arabic name or the local name for the tree is Al-Baqawiyah, which I think means the same, the blessed tree. We're not far from the Saudi border, as I said. We're probably 7, 8, 10 k's away from the Saudi border. Down the horizon, that way, is Saudi Arabia. And the caravan must have traveled across there, through this desert, all the way to Syria, to Damascus. Remember, the Arab tribes at that time did not have any natural resources. That time, now they have. Only thing they could sell or they could acquire as a profession was the ability to withstand the desert conditions, very hostile desert conditions. People from the Indian subcontinent could not do it. People from the Europe could not do it. So there was a gap in that trade route, and the Arabs took over that gap. As I said before, they would take the merchandise from the Yemen border, herbs, spices, whatever, and sell it across to Damascus, from where it would cross the Mediterranean Sea and into Europe, and vice versa. Then the merchandise from Europe into inland, and that's how they made their money. See this vastness, this desolation, the desert, the hostility. This landscape speaks of. Imagine 1500 years ago, traveling 40 people, 10 camels, laden with merchandise, crossing here. Limited food supply, limited water. Fascinating. I can't do it now. I'm tired traveling in the car. Imagine traveling from Mecca, or from Yemen, or from Mecca, all the way to Damascus on foot. Tough people they were. But let's get back to our journey to try and find the tree. Hello anchors, we've been traveling for about 1.5 hours through the Amman traffic and through various provinces of Jordan, and we're now almost here. About 50 kilometers from Saudi border and about 200 kilometers from Iraq border, and this is somewhere where the tree lies. It says it's like about 5 kilometers from the Saudi border. Umri is one of those immigration posts, and I've just stopped to stretch my legs. Been traveling for 2 hours. Very desolate area. It's almost like a village here. Few scattered houses, cows, sheep, little traffic. I'm going to stretch my leg, maybe try and look up for a coffee, and then we're going to continue.